Hey folks, welcome back to another Pokemon Massive video, and with the new announcement that we're getting a huge increase in 5-star power-up tickets and all that stuff, right? I thought it'd be a good opportunity to go through some of the 6-star EXs, which is mainly your main reason why you'd want to go for these, right? I think I have too many tiers now that I'm looking at it, and sort of just go over in terms of priority which ones you should probably prioritize in terms of 6-star EXing, right? So first things first, honestly, this game so far has not been extremely difficult. If the champion stage, stadium master mode proves otherwise, then then there's that. But in my opinion, 99% of the time, you should just EX whichever character is either your favorite or has an EX outfit that you really, really like, right? Obviously, them being, powerful is always a plus, right? It's not a bad thing, unless you just like playing with bad syncers. I don't know. None of these are, like, really... Never mind. Okay, all but one of these aren't, like, really bad sync pairs, but... Again, like I mentioned before, anyone, once you 6-star EX them, any sync pair can be relatively powerful, except for maybe one. And it just honestly, just go with your favorites. But for those who don't really care about that, and, do want to sort of invest into some that would help them a bit more in battles, maybe if you're struggling a bit, right? Let's talk about these, right? So let's talk about which ones are probably more worth. I'm not saying, in terms of the unit as a whole, right? For example, Cynthia doesn't really get much from 6-star EXing her, right? But she's a fantastic unit otherwise, right? I'm not saying which units are better or not. I'm just saying in terms of 6-star EXing them, right? How much they gain from it and how much, more powerful they get. And in terms of, again, just using these resources, which ones are more worth. I'm not saying, again, as a whole unit, how powerful they are, right? Some of that will be taken into account a bit, but again, we're, again, going for priority, right? So, let's start this off then. So, let's see. Let's start from, blue is not great. Blue, again, as a unit, fantastic unit, love this unit, very, very powerful, right? He does not get anything from the 6-star EX at all, right? So Pidgeotto, or not Pidgeot, right? Pidgeot gets nothing from the 6-star EX. And like the Pidgeot's Hurricane is so powerful, right? Because you get like Harry 5 and that extra 50%. Brutal Clarity, right? Like the Hurricane is so powerful that you really, you better off syncing with someone else and just spamming Hurricane with Pidgeot instead, right? So, yeah, blue not the best to 6-star EX. Lily, however, very, very powerful 6-star EX. Lily, I've actually been struggling in terms of where I want to rank this. Oh, by the way, also shout outs to my Discord. You guys can join the description box down below for working out this whole thing, the list with me, right? Again, like I mentioned before, obviously it's all subjective, right? And I personally don't like being trapped in my own sort of bubble or echo chamber, right? So I do appreciate, everyone helping out and checking these, right? And giving suggestions. So, Lily, I at first I kind of wanted to put it in the first tier. After thinking about it, I don't think it does have as many qualities as a lot of the other first tiers sync pairs have, right? She is, however, still very, very good. A very, very good option for a 6-star EX, right? Because first of all, she's a support. Support 6-star EXs are extremely powerful. They give you a 1.5% buff, right? For those who don't know, all the 6-star EXs, their effects are the same according to rules, right? Supports give you double the sync boost that you get. It's only for this first sync, though, right? It's only for the first sync. Obviously, if it was more than one sync, they would be incredibly overpowered, and no one would ever be EXing any strikers or techs, right? It's only for the first sync, but first sync doubles your sync buff that you get, right? Which is the initial 1.5 times multiplier that you get from a sync buff. You get another one. straight up, right? Again, super, super powerful. Tech units are turns their sync move damage times 1.5, so you get an extra 50% damage on your sync moves, which again really depends on the tech sync pairs, right? Some tech sync pairs you could get a really, really powerful sync nuke out of it. Some tech sync pairs will not use that at all. Strikers are AoE sync moves, right? So basically your sync move hits everyone, which is okay, I guess. Anyways, let's get into this. First of all, just for being a support, you get a really big, boost here, right? On top of that, you have probably one of the most powerful passives that activate on your sync move, which is Synchro Healing, which heals your team. Heals your whole team after you sync, right? This is like recuperation level good, right? This is recuperation except for your whole team. Synchro Healing, very, very powerful. Which is honestly the reason why she's so high. She doesn't have much else, right? I mean, she doesn't do bad damage, I guess. It's not terrible. But it's not anything special either, because she really doesn't have any multipliers on it, right? And her special attack isn't really high. But again, just Synchro Healing, in my opinion, just that like one passive just boost her all the way up here, because again, this is such a broken passive, right? So all right, moving on. Let's see, Morty is down here, unfortunately. Morty is very sad. Morty is sad. Let's find Morty. Morty was heavily debated as well in terms of the last tier or second last tier. We did settle on the last tier, right? Unfortunately. Like, Morty has, like, a lot of good stuff in the grid for a AoE sync nuke. He doesn't have the energy to pick them all up, but stuff like Blind Spot, right? Blind Spot doubles your sync move damage if you have +6 evasion. Few things. +6 evasion, not the most easiest thing to get to, right? And the biggest drawback about Morty is a Phantom Force. Phantom Force, it's a 2-turn move, which means instead of getting your sync move in 3 turns, you're taking even longer, because every time you use Phantom Force, it takes 2 turns, but it only gives you -1 sync move countdown. If they buffed that, Morty would be so much better, right? In terms of the overall unit, and also in terms of how powerful the 6-star EX is. The big thing about Morty is, like, you got a good 6-star EX, AoE sync nuke, you just take too long to get to it, right? Like, you pick any like random, the sync pair in the game, say something really bad, like Marlin. Marlin does not have that issue. Marlin's not that great, but Marlin doesn't have that issue, right? You could say, oh well, you could use Drifblim and run Shadow Ball. Okay, but like Shadow Ball, your special attack is not extremely high, right? And unfortunately, your sync move is physical, so you're splitting between physical and special. So that means you need a support that buffs both your physical and special, and that really limits your options, right? You do not have too many options over there. And again, you also need to buff your evasion, which honestly, you really just have to like get lucky on Shifty Striker, which is only a 20% chance, right? And if you are using Phantom Force, right, that's 2 turns for 120% chance proc. Again, like physical and special, if you're running Shadow Ball, like your options are really limited. Stuff like Lily, Lyra, maybe not really. Lyra, you can't get max, right? Unless you get NPR, obviously. Torchic, you really don't have too many options, right? So unfortunately, Morty, even though it has Blind Spot, even though it has some, although you can't pick these up, right? You don't have enough energy. You can't pick them all up. You can pick like 1 or 2 up, right? So that's where, unfortunately, Morty lands. Moving on to Wally. Wally, this was one that I put 1 tier above Morty, but a lot of people did argue, and with a decent point, that maybe not as much, right? Here's the thing with Wally. Wally does benefit from the 6-star EX, right? It's not like some of the other 6-star EXs that we're going to put in, the bottom tier, which actually actively gets hurt by 6-star EXs, right? In Wally's case, Wally actually does get some good stuff. It does get Cakewalk, and does have Critical Strike, right? Which all activate on your sync move. Here's the thing with Wally. First of all, you're a Mega, and Megas are, they're not great for sync nuke because their base damage on their sync move is so much lower than your regular non-Megas, right? Megas just have a huge disadvantage here to start with. And the other thing is, Wally, like Driftblim, right, has a physical special split. Focus Blast build is unequivocally better. It's Focus Blast is straight up better than Close Combat build, right, for Gallade. And Focus Blast special, the sync move is physical. And the other thing is, slowing the opponent, not that, easy to do, right? Don't have too many options. Obviously, the best one, Clement, which is good, right? But again, slowing the opponent, relatively hard to do. And once you take out the opponent, you have to slow them again, right? Which, unlike Morty, once you buff your evasion, unless the opponent debuffs your evasion, you generally don't have to worry about that later, right? It is much easier for Gallade to operate here, though, than Morty is. But again, it really restricts your team comp quite a bit, which is not a knock against it. It's just harder, right? Moving on, Gladion. I'd put it over here probably, right? Here's the thing with Gladion. Gladion does decent damage on a sync move. It's not terrible, if we could find it. It's not anything amazing either. The really good part about Gladion is because he changes its type, right? Because you have like double down 3 and your sync move base is 300 because it's a normal type sync move, right? Which changes types after you use your train move. Yeah, so it does decent amount of damage, especially if you're, if everyone else is fighting neutral, you're fighting super effective. However, if the opponent changes their type, then not only do you lose the super effective, you also lose the extra 30% on double down and some more, right? So, it's really good against stages like the Champion Stadium, where there's only always just one type for your opponent, right? It's really bad for the boss stages in Balvala. It's bad for the legendary arenas that change types, all that stuff, right? Which is unfortunate for Silvally. Moving on, Rosa, put it over here. Here's the thing with Rosa. Reason why Rosa isn't lower is because Rosa is a support, and again, support sync moves are just incredibly powerful. Or EX sync moves, right? No, it's not superior. That's superior. On the other side, doesn't really get much. I mean, it does have Solar Flare 5, but you're not going to do that. Why would you do that? Or Solar Flare 10, I guess. It's way too much of a hassle to get like some sync move damage with Superior, who has a special attack stat of 114, which is terrible. You do get, again, Solar Flare 10. Yeah, but also, 114 special attack is absolutely atrocious, and don't rely on damage for Superior. Moving on, Singsu Red, I'd probably put it here, right? You have a lot of really, really great upsides with Singsu Red, and quite a few downsides as well, unfortunately. So the upsides for Red as a 6-star EX is, you do get, you get Solar Flare 5, which is nice, extra 50% on your sync move, and then you also get Haymaker, which is double your sync move, right? And also, since you're a Mega, you Mega into something, so you gain more stats, all that stuff. And you also get +1 crit on your sync move as well. And if you pick up Rejuvenate, you also get the gauges back. Although if you're running that, you're probably picking up Speeding Sun too, so it doesn't really matter, honestly. So maybe not pick up Rejuvenate. Which again, really, really great upsides. The downside is you can't use Lyra with them, which is generally what you want to run with Red in longer battles. This is obviously for shorter battles, where you could use Blaine, where you finish the whole stage within 2 sync move cycles if you can, right? Then obviously very, very good stuff here. If not, then you're missing out on a lot of damage in the long run, like a lot of damage in the long run. If you're not running Lyra with, or I guess Ho-Oh, although Lyra's better, with Solarize, right? Because you need to sync with the Lyra / Ho-Oh instead of Red. And the other thing is Haymaker. You it kind of sucks because you need someone to buff his physical attack, right? You could buff your own physical attack with My Destiny, but then you're just wasting like 3 turns plus a whole sync move by doing nothing at like +0 special attack, which is terrible. Singzu Blue does help it out a bit though, right? Can tank relatively well, can give some attack. Very, very slow, very RNG based, but it's something, I guess, right? So, all right, moving on. Nate, unfortunately, B plus tier, like the lowest tier. I don't really care about what names these are, but the lowest tier. Here's the thing about Nate. Nate actually has some really, really good stuff in his sync grid for sync nuking, right? You have inertia and 4 sync move power ups. Inertia plus 4 sync move power ups, very, very good. Problem, attack very, very low, 252 attack, terrible. Other problem, you have fly, right? Same thing with Morty, the 2-turn move. You're wasting turns on sync move countdown, and that just lowers your overall team damage by a lot, right? If you can't, like, if other people sync in like 3 turns and then you sync in like 4 or 5 turns, that just vastly, that just decreases your damage a lot because you're not getting that extra 1.5 times sync boost, right? And the other thing is, oh, well, you could use area release, right? No, you don't have enough energy. These cost a lot. Ramming speed, crit strike 2, very, very expensive. So unfortunately, Nate, no, doesn't get really saved much by his 6-star. I mean, it's better, but like, again, it's no, not worth it. Moving on, Iris, I put it over here. Few things about Iris, right? Iris, you do get carry on, which I think I misspoke once when I was talking about that. Iris, you do get carry on, which is nice. Where is it? Right? Every time, Pokemon on the field of play faints, you get +1 attack, which is really cool. Unfortunately, you don't have anything else other than that, right? Your attack is relatively low, even at like 5-star. It's only like at 300, right? Which, I mean, I'll take, but it's not anything amazing either, right? And you don't have anything else. Plus, your outrage does like so much damage. You probably better just using outrage instead of syncing, and have someone else sync, right? So moving on, Singzu Grimsley is definitely all the way up here. So this guy hits like an absolute truck on his sync move. So let's see, where's Sharpedo, right? Sharpedo, it does have the downside of being a mega, right? In terms of, the damage, all that stuff, same with red, but you do have double down 5, so it makes it that it basically negates that. And on top of that, you do have inertia, which is very, very good for Sharpedo, because Sharpedo, it's, I don't know, it's good. What else do I want to say? Inertia, 4 sync move power ups, and since you're water type, you can also boost the sync move with rain, right? Which extra 50% on top of that, very, very powerful. Don't really need to say much. Also, you also have like on roll on liquidation to lower your opponent's defenses. The more the defenses are lower, the more this even does, right? So this thing is insane. Moving on, Dawn, I probably put it over here, right? Again, support sync moves automatically very, very good. Dawn also, right? Torterra. Dawn also has a very, very powerful sync nuke as well with pecking order. So when the opponent's attack is lower, the more powers of sync move. Although again, it is lowering the opponent's stats and not buffing your own, so it is slightly more difficult than a lot of the other stuffs. But again, she could do it herself for the most part, which is nice. And again, not bad damage, right? That's much more, it's attack than 8. And that's a good sync nuke. So, and also again, support the extra sync buff is very, very powerful. Moving on, let's see. Alicia I'll probably put here as well. Here's the thing with Alicia. Altaria has insanely good special attack once you mega it, right? 407 special attack, that's absolutely nuts. 407 special attack, again, it is a mega sync move, but you do have double down too, but it's still double down, right? To negate that a bit, right? And then on top of that, you boost your sync move damage if there are no field effects on the opponent's field of play, and no field effects overall, right? So That's an extra, 1.2 multiplier over there. So this thing, with the extra 1.5 on your sync move, that's going to hit very, very hard. Moving on to Skyla. Skyla, I put it over here, right? Skyla's probably the second best tech sync nuker overall, right? 6REX. Let's see. Togekiss. Oh, there's Togekiss. Togekiss is Rising Tide. The more any stats have been raised, more powers up sync with the same one as Seabat, or, Octillery. Seagtillery. Seagtillery has. And on top of that, you also have Flinch Hitter 5, extra 50% over there as well. And then on top of that, you get Good Tidings Air Slash. If they have a status condition, that also increases that as well. So very, very nice. Very, very nice overall. Special attack, not the best, but it's not terrible either, right? Better than 8 still. So moving on. Stevens, that's top tier. Definitely top tier. Stevens 6REX is so incredibly broken. Let's see, where is it? Metagross. So, on top of having Haymaker, right, you also get a Recuperation. Recuperation is one of the most powerful passives in the game. It is insanely good, right? Especially on Steven, which is relatively tanky, right? Especially physically. Like a lot of the times, the amount of HP that you regen on your sync move, right, is more HP than you even, or more damage than you even take, right? So that's very, very powerful. Haymaker, very strong. Mega Metagross, a lot of attack, right? When 20 out of 20 of that, that's even more nuts, right? Jeez, right? So yeah, easily all the way up there. Recuperation is just so incredibly broken. That's another one up here. Hilbert. Halloween Hilbert. So this one, Mightyena, right? There it is. This is very, very powerful with the sync nuke. So not only does it have Haymaker up here, right, which obviously that doubles your sync move damage. It has Haymaker, and it has, if I could find it, it's not, it's in the, there it is. It has Carry On as well, right? So it's Iris, but like actually good. It's much, upgraded version of Iris. And then you have Spur on 4 as well, right? So very, very likely when you are AoE sync nuking your opponents, you will take out the sides. And once you take out the sides, that's an easy free +2 attack and +8, I guess, even though you have 8 bars of move gauge there as well. Again, as you can see, very, very powerful and good attack stat as well. Moving on, Memerola. Memerola, not so much, right? It's still not bad. Memerola does have some good stuff over here. You do have, where's it? Fuzzy Striker 5, extra 50% on your sync move, and you constantly lower the opponent's defenses, which is good as well. Obviously, the more the opponent's defenses are lower, the more damage you do, right? So, Fuzzy Strike 5, you got extra 50% over there, and you also get an extra, 1.2 if the opponent is confused, and plus it's not a, it's not a mega, so it's it's not like terrible, right? So yeah, Memerola is nice, I guess. The only real big downside is the attack stat's not that great, but again, you with 1.5 here, 1.2 here, an extra 1.5 at 6-star EX, it will definitely do really, really good damage. Okay, moving on to Singsu Leaf. Singsu Leaf's here as well. Singsu Leaf is an absolute just bulldozer, right? It does so much damage. It's kind of insane. Even though it's not here to it's not supposed to do that. It's mainly trying to be a healer, but it really just does that, and it's very powerful. So Relentless, right? The more opponent's defense has been lowered, the more powers up sync moves. Not the most reliable because you do probably need another unit to lower the opponent's defenses, because your Razor Leaf is it's RNG, right, in terms of lowering defense or special defense, which is slightly unfortunate. But outside of that, right, you get extra buff when the opponent is badly poisoned, right? And then after you mega, it's really good special attack, all that stuff. So yeah, it's really hard. I don't know what else to say. And once you mega as well, you on the first time, right? You do get Adrenaline 2 as well, so that's an extra that you add on to it. And plus, it's a mega, so you do get some extra stats afterwards, which are kind of worth it, I guess. Right? Special attack, special defense, all that stuff. Moving on. We got Sing Blue. Sing Blue is all the way up here. Pretty much the best 6-star, EX support, right? So Sing Blue, not only do you get, you gain the insane defenses after you mega, which is really, really nice. You also get safety net as well. Your whole team gets endurance, and that is very, very, very good. Unfortunately, basically, you don't do any damage on it, though. But, it's not the biggest deal. Who cares, right? He's not here to do damage anyways, most of the time. So, yeah, Sing Blue, very, very good. Again, just the huge stat increases. That alone almost justifies it. Then on top of that, you get endurance for your whole team as well. Very, very good. Moving on to Rosanta. Rosanta basically here as well. I almost put Rosanta lower, but then I thought about it. It's, okay, I guess it's like mainly just like a regular Rosa if you're using it outside of Hail. Here's the thing about Rosanta. Rosanta, you almost never sync with Rosanta, because Rosanta is mainly going to be run in a Hail team. And if you're running a Hail team, your best scenario would be, also running Ice Steven. And Ice Steven, he has to sync every single time, so you get Hail, right? That's the best way of getting Hail for your team. You're syncing with Ice Steven every single time. And obviously, Delbert interferes with that, which is an issue. But if you're just running Delbert as like a regular support, I guess it's kind of like Rosa, right? You're just regular support with the support sync move, nothing special. Moving on, Alder. This was also one that we kind of talk back and forth about, right? I thought it would be higher. Some people said maybe not too much, and they do have a decent point. Alder hits extremely hard on the sync move, right? Very good sync move. Devastation, the more this opponent's special attack is lower, the more powers up sync move. And a lot of people were saying, well, it's going to be hard to decrease their special attack. Wrong. Voltorb, 3 turns, right? Just enough for your sync move to come up every time. 3 turns, -6 special attack. There are some issues that are not that great, because, first of all, unlike Sings of Grimsley or whatever, it's not you buffing your own stats, so the opponents sometimes, they buff their own special attack as well, so that screws up your plan, right? The opponent has, like, Impervious or something, you're kind of screwed there as well, right? Unfortunately. But in terms of just raw power, this is incredibly powerful, right? Just raw power, very strong. Also, you get, after your sync, you get Free Rejuvenate back up, Adrenaline 2 as well. Because, personally, if it was up to me, I'd probably put it up here. But, again, I'm trying to see past my own biases. So, we put him 1 tier lower then. Moving on. Erica. Erica I'd probably put here. Erica is really nice. It's kind of like a mini Sing Blue, right? Not as good as, nowhere near as good as Sing Blue's 6-star EX effect, right? But also not terrible. Where is it? If I can find, there it is. So it really doesn't have much other than it being a support, sync pair, which is 6-star EX, which again, very, very powerful. And that it does have, where is it? I think it's on the grid, I guess. As safety tether, which gives yourself endurance. Blue is the whole team endurance. Coffee is just herself, which again, it's fine, it's good, right? It's better than the 2 Rosas, which really don't give you anything, honestly, other than like more damage if you have Sun up with this one. I don't know. It's kind of sad. Moving on, Sing Lisa, that's an easy S, or second highest here. Here's why, because you have Inertia to start, right? Inertia, that's a sync nuke, and then on top of that, you get, you're not a mega, so unlike Sharpedo, you don't have to worry about the mega sync move damage, right? Even though again, Sharpedo, you don't have to worry about that as well. Double down, right? And also you get electric terrain now, so that's extra 50% as well. So it's basically electric Sharpedo, electric type Sharpedo. Moving on. Oh, you also do get guaranteed crit on your sync move as well, which is pretty important. Also, Steven, forgot about Steven. Steven also gets guaranteed crit on his sync move. Moving on, Jasmine. Jasmine is over here. Jasmine, we were kind of talking about between, it's borderline, right? The highest tier and not, right? Jasmine's 6RX is very, very good. Plus, it looks cool as well. So, win-win over there on that front. But Recuperation 2. Incredibly powerful, right? Recuperation 2, you got Rejuvenate as well. Right? Rejuvenate, Recuperation 2. And then on top of that, you mega into an absolutely beastful physical wall, right? Not so much special. Not that it's bad. It's not bad, but like that physical defense, it's insane. So yeah, you do get quite a bit of out of Jasmine. So yeah. Anyways, moving on. Bianca I'd probably put in this tier, basically the same as Mimarola, right? Except Bianca does have, instead of Fuzzy Strike 5, Bianca has the ability to set up, or take advantage of Psychic Terrain, right? The reason why Bianca isn't higher is don't do like that much. I mean, it does a lot, but it, also on the other hand, most of the time you probably would be sync nuking with Mew instead, right? On your Psychic Terrain. And Volkner, same thing, exactly same thing, right? Volkner, I think, does have like a bit more attack, right? And also guaranteed crit, if I remember correctly. But also, if you got Volkner, you'd probably be syncing with Syncs with Lisa, or something else instead. Even Hau, if Hau ever gets a, well, he will eventually, just whenever Hau gets a 6RX outfit. Moving on, Brendan. Brendan probably here as well. Brendan, some upsides, some downsides, right? Unfortunately. Let's see. Let's find Brendan first. So you do have inertia, which is fantastic, right? You do have inertia, but unfortunately, unlike whoops, not Phoebe, unlike Grimsley and or not Singsu Elisa, regular Elisa, unlike Singsu Grimsley and Elisa and Red, right? You don't have terrain, you don't have grassy terrain to take advantage of. Once you do get grassy terrain, obviously that makes it much better, right? Whoops, not there. You also kind of have to pick and choose if you are using, because this inertia is in a really, really bad place. It's over here, like on the build seed route. And also, if you are running that, chances are you're not running Charging Sun. You can, it's just not as good, right? Unfortunately. So yeah, there's that. Because most likely it would be, you can't sync with Lyra anymore. And also the other slight thing that I do want to, let folks, because some people forget, dude sync is physical. Not that it matters, because you do get like +6 on this, physical as well. But just something to keep in mind. So anyways, moving on. Luzamine is not. Like, she's, again, fantastic unit, like Blue, right? Like Wally, like Blue, Morty, to an extent as well, right? Fantastic sync pair. Her 6REX is terrible. Her 6REX sync, I mean, she looks fantastic. I 6REX my Luzamine. I love the outfit, right? But her effect is atrocious. AoE sync move is really, really bad for Luzamine. You'd rather not AoE sync move than AoE sync move most of the time, because Luzamine, unfortunately, let's see. Unfortunately, her passive, Positive Reinforcement 3, which drastically raises your attack and special attack when it knocks out an opponent with a move, does not apply on your AoE sync move. If you AoE sync, you don't get this, right? And then you just took out two really easy to take out sides that would have been just attack or special attack battery for Luzamine. Yeah, it hurts more than helps most of the time, unfortunately. Gloria's up here. Gloria maybe could be lower. This was also a subject of debate. Here's the thing. Gloria does insane damage on her sync nuke, right? Once the conditions are met, you do have to wait for it. You do have to wait for the opponent's sync. So your first sync very likely won't do that much damage. Your second sync will do a boatload of damage, because Gloria's sync move gets an innate 2 times, multiplier bonus if the opponent already synced. Again, the first time you sync, the opponent will have not synced yet. So if you're running Gloria, the strategy is to sync with probably someone else, one of your other 6RX, if you do have another one, right? Instead, or like another, if you're running her with syncs with Blue or Steelix or some other tank that megas, right? Probably sync with them first, and then the second time around you sync with Gloria, right? I'm not talking about the prestige event. Don't do that over there, right? But just in general battles, right? So yeah, that's Gloria, I guess. Again, incredibly powerful. Sync nuke down there, you just don't get to, it just takes a while, right? You just can't really use it on first. So again, I also do see the argument if you want to move it down one as well. Moving on, Cynthia it's pretty straightforward. Same with Blue. Cynthia gets nothing from it. It really does get nothing out of it. Where's Garchomp? Yeah, nothing. You don't get anything out of 6REXing Garchomp, unfortunately. It's nothing. And when I'm talking about this, I probably a bit too late to talk about this, but in terms of just this tier list wise, we're just talking about like the effects. We're not talking about the extra stat boost, because you can get a 20 out of 20 unit and not 6REX them, right? So anyways, that's me with this one. I guess I hope you guys enjoy. Let me guys think in the comments down below. Like, enjoy this video, subscribe to the channel for some more Pokemon Masters content. And for those who just skip to the end, let's just mess this up to make it funny. Let's put Nate up there, and there you go. Well, that's for skipping the video, not listening to the explanations. Anyways, I'll see you guys in the next one.